Morning, everybody. This is Matt Webster again today with another video of my Christian Journey series. Want to knock off another character on my list. Today's character is another Disney character. This was one of the lesser known Disney movies, which I think was kind of funny because I think this movie is a movie very deserving of a sequel. Very good story writing. It's got a very Star Wars feel to it. And anyone who loves Star Wars, I think will love this movie if they haven't seen it. The movie is Treasure Planet, and this movie has got so much good stuff because it kind of highlights something. There's actually one of the characters in the movie who is kind of the villain, but then he's also kind of not the villain, and he ends up being the mentor, ironically, of the hero of the story, which is Jim Hawkins. Jim Hawkins is a character, when we first meet him, who he's being told all these stories of this fantastic planet of treasures and riches and stuff like that. In a way, it's kind of like the stories we hear about heaven and stuff like that, the treasures we store in heaven. Just a fun little side note on that. But one of the big things with this one is that this character grows up and, like, he's waiting for his dad to come home. And he sits out there on the harbor one day because his dad's a sailor, and he's watching as his dad leaves and never comes back. And I think for a lot of us, in my own life personally, like, my biological father tried to kill my mother while she was pregnant with me, so I never really got to know much about him. The little bit I did get to meet him, didn't really enjoy. And then even my stepdad, for me this character kind of resembles him in a way, because I grew up, like, even with a stepdad who really never really viewed me truly as his own son. In fact, there's so many times he told me in my life that it kind of felt like I was isolated and left alone. So Jim's forced to grow up without a dad, really, and as he gets older, his heart gets a lot more solidified, turned to stone, like they say in the Bible. And it leaves him with bitterness, and he becomes rebellious, finds ways to get himself in trouble. Um, but the thing is, at the core of it, even though he's doing all this bad stuff, what he really seeks is freedom. He seeks adventure. He seeks a chance to prove himself. It's something in my own life that I've kind of learned, and it's something I struggle with, where the world around me has never felt quite right, and I've met the right people at the right moments when I needed to, and people have kept me going too far astray from the path. No one's ever kept me completely on the path, but there's certain things about this character just that I resonate with a lot. Being that rebellious youth, there's things that I used to do that weren't very good. Jin actually gets caught going in this one site where he's not supposed to be. Skateboarding, their version of skateboarding. Kind of like my own story here, some things that even my mom doesn't know. I used to break and enter in houses into the town we lived in, and the thrill of it seemed fun for a while, and there's other things I've done that I won't probably mention on here. I just wanted to kind of give a point of example. But it's one of those things where I was very in a rebellious, I'm going to do what I have to do, haphazard, not really care about the consequences of it. And I think I always truly just regretted it. And a lot of the stuff that I had stolen I returned just because I didn't really want it. It was more of a challenge thing. I don't even know why at the time I really thought it was a good idea. But something else about this character is that he kind of has to learn a lot of humility throughout the thing. And it's really funny that the main villain, who, like I said, is not really a villain, ends up becoming like a father-like figure to him and mentors him and teaches him. And it's through this villain, I think, that the villain himself is even redeemed. They kind of help redeem each other. What happens is, like, the main villain tells him one day he sees greatness in Jim. He's just got to look there and believe it. It's something that's can be a struggle. It's hard. Sometimes we want to believe and truly see the best in ourselves, but sometimes it takes others seeing that in us for us to truly understand it. And having said that, I also see that this is something that my own friends struggle with. I see greatness in all of them. And I know that they've seen greatness in me, and there's a call to something much bigger that maybe I was afraid of and I was running from. And I realized that maybe the reason why we're all in each other's lives is that we're not just meant to cross paths, we're meant to lift each other up. And maybe for the group of my friends that this was me having to step out first. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but it could be maybe because in some ways a lot of the things I've done have made me the most fearless in regards to what the world thinks of me, the opinions. I kind of just gotten tired of worrying about it. We've been getting to a point where some of my closest friends I'm cutting off because I just don't have the energy anymore to deal with the negativity and the beat themselves down all the time. Not to mention their constant jealousy of things. It's just frustrating. It's like I can only say and do so much. And that's something that Jim Hawkins encapsulates really well. Here's actually in my opinion, this is his best quote in the movie. It's, "All that talk of greatness, light coming off my sails, what a joke. I mean, at least you taught me something. Stick to it, right? Well, that's exactly what I'm gonna do." Something I've realized is every time I've gotten off the path, God has found a way to put me right back on the path. And no matter how much I've beat myself up over doing bad, God has always called me back. And I had to walk away from things that I didn't want to. I had to let go of things that I thought I needed. I spent a lot of time chasing money and power, especially in my early 20s. And whilst wanting money, you have to have a good reason for it. And there are good reasons with God to go after money. And God will find and prove a way. For me, it was like the want to prove myself, and that's not a very good reason. God will find a way for you to prove yourself without you needing money. Now that I'm chasing money for a different reason, I'm trying to prepare for an established future. I want to be able to provide for not just myself, but my future kids, a wife, and be able to help my neighbors out when they need it. I don't want money for the purpose of being wealthy. I don't think there's really any point of it. The wealthy tend to lose context of reality, and they don't really see what God wants them to see anyways. I mean, if you want proof of that, just look at what's going on in this country right now. And I'm saying this for both sides of the people who vote whichever way you do politically. I really think you need to look carefully at both sides and not just one. I think you'll see that they really genuinely care more about money than they care about people, even if they do profess to claim about it, to care about it. Off track of the topic of that anyways. Going back to this little thing with Jim Hawkins though, something that had come up recently that kind of also reminds me of this character. It was something that was on my mind, and after a little church visit where I got to meet this really nice lady, and I'd asked a question that had been on my mind for a while, I realized that that question opened up a door for me and my mom, and my mom could not have known this. There was this movie that's been on my mind for weeks, and it kind of relates to this character too because of the kind of character that Jim Hawkins is. I don't remember the name of the characters in the movie, but I remember the movie pretty well, and that's Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman has been on my mind for weeks. And it's been an interesting thought because, I'll be honest, I've always thought my love story was going to play something out like that, and I still highly believe that it is. But there was something at the end of that movie that I didn't even know was there, and I thought it was so great because again, my mom could not have known that this thing was said between me and somebody else. So, the main character of that movie, the man, or one of the two main characters, let me rephrase that, goes up to the top of the woman's thing at the end of the movie, and he says, "I'm here to be your white and shining armor, I'm here to rescue you. What do you do?" And she said something that was really kind of remarkable. "Well, now I save you back." And this was a question that was asked to me about a year and a half, 2 years ago, after I almost got whacked at walking around the Sparks Marina here in my area. I was sitting there talking about this thing, and I got asked the question while we were at a restaurant, and it was, "You're always saving everybody else. Who saves you?" Which kind of reminds me of that question at the end of that movie. And my answer to that is that all of you, all of my friends, probably particularly the person that asked this question, because that person has saved me more times than they know. And the thing with that is people need to understand this. When I say that, it's because Jesus is in every one of you, and every time one of you has saved me, it was Jesus inside of you calling out to me. And I'll tell you this, none of you are gone. None of you are too far gone that you can't be saved and redeemed. And I know that maybe that's scary. I know from my own personal end it's been scary. This little journey and figuring out everything. And it's something that you can figure out pieces at a time. And like Jim Hawkins' character, he didn't have everything figured out at the very beginning, but he chose to stick with it, to go through it. And by the end of the movie, despite everything that he thought he did wrong, he ended up being something really great. He became the hero of the story, but he also ended up becoming a Naval Academy, I think it was like a lieutenant or something like that. But the point is he went into the Naval Academy because he was really good at what he did. But it was because he showed bravery in the face of adversity. And he stuck with something even though it was hard. Which brings me to a point of reading a Bible script. Proverbs 3:5. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding." This one has been said to me many, many times, and sometimes you gotta stick with it even if you don't know why. It's a matter of trusting that God's gonna carry you through it. And I'm looking back at my life now kind of going, maybe I had it right at the beginning. Maybe fighting for everyone else was the right call. Maybe jumping in when no one else wanted to. Speaking up for the people around me who I care about the most when everyone else told me I was wrong. Fighting for those who can't fight for themselves just yet is always going to be the right answer. And God appreciates it. And sometimes those people will have to learn to fight their own battles at some point. But sticking up for them when they don't have a voice just yet is absolutely something that God would want his people to do. Anyways, I hope these stories and these characters are showing people that God speaks in a multitude of ways. And I hope that everyone's getting something out of this. At the very minute that these videos find the right people, and people get to hear what God's trying to tell them. Anyways, see y'all later.